Wait for a head nod from you, Anna. Howdy, friends. Tulio here from Colorado Springs, and you're in the right place. This is Pivot Shift Ahead. I'm filling in for James Shaw today, and we're going to go ahead and start as we always do. We're going to do a couple of Tell Me Something Goods, and Ira's hand popped up so quick, it must be fabulous. What do you got to share with us, Ira?
Well, I really don't like to brag, but it is fabulous. I went on a listing appointment yesterday. These are clients that I brought them. I met them at an open house 3 years ago. They didn't like the open house, and we wound up becoming having a relationship. And they bought a property that I showed them, and now they're selling it 3 months, 3 years later. So basically, they reached out to me. So it was a come list me call, and I brought my usual paperwork. And the husband was a very strong type D, and he basically said, "All right, I don't need to see all your stuff. You are so well prepared. Just tell me what the numbers are, and when should we list it?" So
Uh,
it was very easy. And I said, "Well, I'm well prepared because I work at Keller Williams, and I also meet up with 1,000 people every single morning, and this is my job."
A good treat.
So I'm glad you think I'm prepared, because I am, because I learn from the best.
Ira, are you in New York or New Jersey?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. So a good friend of mine many years ago named Rob DiStefano from Lodi, New Jersey. He used to use a phrase that when I was a kid I thought was rude, but I don't anymore. And the rude is good for you. And there you go, Ira. Good for you. Renee Quigley.
Hey, good morning, Tulio. So I just wanted to say that today marks my 60th journey around the sun. That's it.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And good for you.
Yes, it is good for me.
All right, we're going to take one more. Brittany.
So my good news is my tell me something good is it just speaks to what we were talking about on Pivot yesterday when we were talking about like how do you have conversations with people, how do you lead generate, and a lot of people was just saying the things that you naturally do, that's what you'll find. And so yesterday I got a phone call from a lady that I met at a nail shop saying like, hey, I'm thinking about selling, and I remembered you and I wanted you to come look at my house. Now, granted, she's only lived in the house for 1 year, so I don't even know if she has enough equity or whatever to call, to sell what she's going to make off of it. But it was the fact that I had the conversation and that the seed was planted and something came back. And so it's always a teaching moment for me. And I just wanted to share that to new agents who are always like, well, who do I talk to? It's like, talk to the people wherever you go because something may come of it.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to go into a segment where I'm not reading from a book. All right. I'm going to read something that I wrote, and I just want you to listen to it. We get the phrase "I want to wait" quite a bit, and it can be for several reasons. And dealing with it in the moment can be a pain. And so I've put quite a bit of thought into this question and formulated a structure to it. Okay. And I just want you to listen, maybe take some notes. We're going to share this. It's a little bit lengthy. I tried to pop it in the chat and it wouldn't. So we'll share it to the file section. But I literally would appreciate if you had pen and paper and any segment of this that touches you or says, "Oh, that was good," or you thought you could say it better. I'm open. Okay. I want us to kind of do a mastermind, and this is a compilation of me and training with Word Wizards and listening to Early Birds and listening to Tyler's group and listening to Chris Hurley and all of our people over time and other coaches that I put this together. So here's how it plays out, how it sounds. Okay. Handling "I want to wait" objections. Here's the purpose: help clients gain clarity and move away from indecision by reconnecting with their original intent and the cost of inaction. This is a question-driven approach that positions realtors as a trusted professional, not a salesperson. Step number one: permission to ask questions. They say, "I want to wait." Totally fair. It makes sense to want to think things through. Can I ask you a few questions to better understand where you're at and help you process this? Step number two, reconnect with original motivation. Let me ask, what made you decide to meet with me in the first place? Follow up. Most people don't sit down with an advisor unless there's something on their mind, a change they're exploring, a problem they're hoping to solve, or a dream or a goal they're getting serious about. What was it for you? Step number three, establish time sensitivity. When someone goes to the doctor, lawyer, or financial advisor, it's usually because there's something important or timely, even if they're not sure exactly what the next step is. Would you say that's true for you right now? Step four, clarify. Decision versus delay. Here's a question I ask sometimes. Do you feel like you're at a place where you're making a decision or avoiding one? I'm going to read that again. Here's a question I ask sometimes. Do you feel like you're at a place where you're making a decision or avoiding one? Step five, explore the cost of waiting. What do you think happens if you wait 6 months or a year? How could that impact your goals financially or emotionally? Follow up. Are you okay with that outcome? Or is that actually something you're hoping to avoid? Step six, the path of least resistance. Can I share an observation? In my experience, most people who say they want to wait end up doing nothing. They get busy, life fills in, and a year later, they're still stuck, often in exactly the same situation they hope to change. That's not always wrong, but it's rarely what they intended. Do you think that might be happening here? Step seven, return to motivation and emotion. You mentioned earlier that if nothing changes, how will you feel in 6 months from now? Step eight, no pressure, just clarity. Just to be clear, I'm not here to pressure you. My role is to guide you to clarity, whether that's yes or no. But if the only reason you're waiting is because it's easier than deciding, let's talk about the right next step, even if it's small. If they're still hesitant, sounds like you're still leaning towards waiting. Can I ask what specific information would help you feel more confident making a decision sooner? Future self reframe. If a future version of you, say 12 months from now, came back to give you advice today, what do you think they'd say? If a future version of you, say 12 months from now, could come back to give you advice today, what do you think they'd say? Wrap up. Let's make sure your decision's based on clarity, not just comfort. That way, whether you move forward or hold off, it's intentional. So what's one step we could take today to keep things moving, even if you're not 100% ready? That's what I put together. I'm going to share that in the files section. Okay, it'll get posted after today's show. But I'd like to hear from you. I know that was a lot, but I'd like to hear from you guys any insight or anything, any phrase that I said in there that was helpful to you, or that you could say, hey, I would modify this. I'm up for getting plussed on anything in there. Jean Marie, I feel like I haven't heard from you in a while, my friend, and I miss you. Fire away.
Wow, Tulio. Thank you. I have been very quiet for a long time because I'm implementing stuff to see what works. You know that I focus on the senior homeowner group. It's always good to be on this call every day because it sets our minds right in a challenging time. And I'm almost speechless from these questions because the pace you set is so calming. And I find in my world that I'm sitting down with people who are later in life and the job, if you know anything about seniors, and the job of us as we get older is to just be reflecting on the past. And the fear is always what's in the future. And for these senior homeowners, a lot of times, I mean, the future can be scary, right? So these probing questions and the pace that you took when you asked them is so powerful. It so runs against the quickly, get them to sign approach that a lot of times we're trained to take. So I just want to thank you for for this. I couldn't take the notes fast enough, so I'm glad you're going to post them. And I just think we're Phil Jones has us ask questions, and I've been finding myself lately. I'll even say out loud, look, I'm trying not to give advice right now, so asking these questions is just really powerful. I just wanted to share that. Thank you, Tulio, for hosting
Thank
today.
you. Thank you for your compliments on that. And this was honestly a compilation of so many people here and their interviews and their dialogues on other groups that we work out with. So I put a lot of thought into it. And sometimes I've even thought, how can I Phil Jones this up a little bit more? How can I ask more questions on some of the items? Maybe it was too much talk and not enough questions in certain paragraphs. I know Erica's nodding her head. Erica, I'm going to jump to someone else because you got a chance to speak earlier. But Pat, I'd like to hear from you.
So, my friend, I don't know. I think you ought to put a sign out says Dr. Tulio at your really um, self-realization is what I wrote down. This is all about self-realization.
Hmm.
And the thing is this a decision or a delay? Holy schmoly, friend. That, that applies so many ways in our business. And the whole clarity. So, like Jean Marie, everybody knows I live in a 55 plus community. I have someone I moved into my community. She's bought before she sold. And I had to sit the other night and just try to be calm, because I'm not always calm, to say, mm-hmm, uh-huh. Sometimes you just have to let things roll and ask that question or that yeah, along the way. It's like I'm gonna put my arm around you verbally or with my head nod or my empathetic self and say, okay, we got this. But let me just ask you another. So have you thought about, oh, Tulio, I have an agent who's very new, went on a listing appointment yesterday and she's high S. She's wonderful. Sent me the outline of that. I'm just going to tell her. With the recording of this morning, it's all there. It's all there. The whole idea of just taking your time. Pardon me what I'm about to say. We live in a slam bam, thank you, ma'am society. Can't do that anymore. We have to take our time, even if it's painful to us.
Yeah, Pat, thank you. And I put this together to be really a consultant for our
Yes,
people, to be
yes,
consulting with them, to ask thoughtful, deep,
yes.
slow questions. And I'm not saying you use the whole framework. You can use parts of it when they're appropriate. LaKayla, you are Miss Tell It Like It Is. I want to hear from you.
Good morning, Tulio. Good morning, everyone. Tell it like it is. I think my first thought when you said I want to wait is that probably initially I always want to react and get them to yes. And Phil last year really that really was the big lesson that we're here to help them make a decision, and that's not always necessarily yes. But like Pat, the thing that really stuck out was helping them to gain clarity. Um, and again, by slowing down, I think sometimes we're running so much that seems awkward to slow down. We have to slow down long enough to be able to understand what's really going on. And it sometimes takes time to uncover that. And I think consumers don't always know how to articulate that, or they may or may not think that it's relevant. I think people only believe what's relevant is how many bedrooms and bath counts we need to know for the homes. So
Hmm.
so thank you for that. I'm looking
Absolutely.
forward to the file section too, because I was keeping up until about number 6.
I know. I tried to put it in the chat, and I thought I had this. I was poised. I was ready to go, and it didn't take. But the one word you said, Lakayla, was clarity. And clarity, I didn't pick a word for the year. That's it. And I'm seeing it everywhere in all the stuff we read and the stuff we practice. And Jessica, who works with me, she uses it all the time. She goes, Tulio, is that providing us clarity? Lee Corey.
Thank you.
Good morning, Tulio. This is brilliant, brilliant, and it's sequential, which you have to go back and read your topics. Like you gave the topic permission to ask question, then you gave the question. So what we need to internalize is this sequence, okay? And then come up with the questions because it's getting them to think. I found the most impactful one was number 6, where you did ask that really hard question. You know, what if you do wait and nothing changes? And then you just got to let it sit there with them because that's so realistic, right? How many people here want to do something and you keep putting it off and nothing changes? So thank you so much for sharing this and for hosting.
Absolutely. And that one, you have to be at the right moment, the right person, the right personality type, so that it's not offensive to them. But can I share an observation? In my experience, most people who say they want to wait end up doing nothing. Life gets busy, things fill in, and later they're still stuck, often in exactly the situation they hope to change. That's not always wrong, but it's rarely what they intended. Do you think that might be happening here? Frank Matera.
Thank you so much, Tulio. This is a super great framework for questions, questions, questions. And along with this, the power of the silence to give them time to formulate, to process, makes it all work because in the end, it's all about them self-discovering and coming to the conclusion that's best for them. And often it's the conclusion that you wanted them to come to in the beginning.
Mhm.
You just got to ask the questions based on their answers
Mhm.
and give them the time to process it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you see the way I do. I know a lot of people kind of give me heck sometimes because I often speak slowly. But I think with something like this, it's important to speak slowly and not be rushed. When we're rushed, it seems pushy. But when you take it slow, it's really, you're being a caring consultant, I believe. That's my opinion. Ronnie DiCarlo.
Morning, my brother. Thank you so much. So for me, I'm gonna take a page out of Gene Rivers, who says, "Let the forms do the heavy lifting." There are forms that we can use prior to this. One that comes to mind with a buyer is, "Are you an A, B, or C buyer?" Which then you get a sense of where they're at. And as Frank said, let them self-discover. Those forms are designed to let them self-discover. And then at least you know. And then, of course, Tulio, you always come up with such a sequential, very nicely done. And for me, you know me, as a New Yorker, I talk too damn fast sometimes. And I've said it on Word Wizards that I need to slow down. Yeah, because speed kills. So thank you for reminding me that.
Well,
Appreciate
thank y'all. And I hope this was helpful to you. This is something I've been working on for quite some time. This wasn't just AI driven. I had chat help me clean it up a little. I'm admitting that, but this was really a compilation of all of you and scripting and practicing and dialoguing and everything that we do. And I put it together to help us. So as soon as this is done, I'm going to upload it and use it as you see fit. And feel free to reach out to me if you see ways to plus it. Okay. I would love to change things up, make it a little more, more questions maybe in certain sections. So I'm all ears for that. All right, guys. Hey, you got your inspiration. Go put in the perspiration. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Tula.
Thank you.
Bye.
Great day, everyone.